not abandoning the fire department, we're just kind of retiring. It's been over 20 years that we've been here, so that's long enough. And Jackie Colmice, who is a she's a, what do you call that? Above advanced.
Master.
Certified.
Huh?
Master.
Master. She's a master firefighter.
Oh, you're talking about certification.
Yeah. So she's going to be taking over the helm. And now when I say we or I, this department has been a blessing from all participants in it. So when I say we or me or we or I'm referring to everybody. And I want to thank the sheriff right now on behalf of Shirley Ann and myself. 20 years we went without having a single incident by anybody getting carried away. His deputies did a fine job, and he's responsible for the deputies, so he did a
briefing, and then at some point we may want to consider if y'all want to go into executive session. We also have here with us to assist our librarian, Nikki Storr, and Dr. Nims, who was with us, who's a member of the library board and of the Wilson County Education Foundation. I've been here a couple of times talking about trying to organize a way to acquire a new library for Wilson County. The current library, as I'm sure you all are aware, has about 5,000 square feet. That means that we are about, between what the recommended state average is, we are about 20% of what we need to have. Literally, this year we ran into a problem that we don't have enough space in the library to put the requisite number of items that are needed in the library to keep our certification. We managed to do it, but it was a real tight fit. This library that we're currently in was built when the population of this county was about a quarter of what it is today. It's simply not adequate at this point. We have been looking at a variety of options, and as we have been doing this, we've been trying to move as much as we could away from asking for a bond issue, or as much as we can from asking for any further impact on the county taxpayers. We're trying to figure out ways to do this with the least potential impact on the county taxpayers. Now, for a variety of reasons, including certification, it is important that this stay a county library. It is a library that services the whole county and services the approximately 45 to 50,000 people in that county. We've been running down two different tracks, or well, multiple tracks constantly, but we're focusing really on two at this point. One of them is private fundraising, and we have engaged the services of a firm to assist us in private fundraising. We have yet to pay them anything. It's not a bill to the county. It's something that the organization that I'm chairman of, the Wilson County Education Foundation, will be bearing the cost of. But that's one track. The second track came out of a conversation that the judge and I had a few weeks ago, where we were overlooking at the old library, and we started just kicking around some ideas. And this is essentially a lease purchase arrangement using private investors. And there's a couple of different options on that. We're all looking at the same actual structure, which is an existing structure, so we won't have to be going into the business of building a complete new structure. But I don't want to go into too much detail about what we're looking at with that thing, or that kind of thing here in open session, because that's purchase of real property. It may impact on our negotiating structure position. But really, we're looking at either utilizing private, to the greatest extent possible, private fundraising, or utilizing on the other side a lease purchase agreement that would allow the county to budget it annually for that expense, rather than have a bond issue where you have a tax dedicated to it. Either one of those is the angle we're looking at, and frankly, we're looking at pursuing both of them. And I'll be happy to go into some more details about my discussions with various parties down the those lines, including cost and that kind of thing, in executive session, if you don't want to.
Mr. Carter, let me ask you, you're an attorney and a former county attorney, you think that the discussions we had in executive session would impair the county's negotiating position with the third party?
It could, yes. Yes, because we're going to be talking about, among other things, cost and price and that kind of thing, that does impact our negotiating position.
Okay, the Commissioners Court reserves the right to go into executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072 for discussion of real property. Would like for the auditor and the clerk to remain in the courtroom.
I also have Ms. Storr and Dr. Nick.
Ms. Storr and Dr. Neal also remain.
I'm sorry, and Jerry, I walked right past you.
And Jerry, what's got there with his own library? Motion, comments, Waddell.
We're supposed to get under our interlocal agreement with the city and Economic Development Corporation, especially for the drainage study. Our interlocal agreement says that we will, before we go to litigation, engage in alternative dispute resolution of some kind. So I guess I'd ask the commissioners, whether this leave it set, or do you want to send some kind of communication to the Economic Development Corporation saying that, okay, we need to sit down and go through mediation or something along those lines before we get to the lawsuit? Because it's been a number of months. This was all supposed to happen before they sold the lots. They've been selling lots since January, February, at least, and we still don't have the stuff they were supposed to give us before they do.
And they haven't been coming to the meetings.
And what? Judge, they haven't fulfilled their promise that they promised us, for the roads and everything else inside. And they told us within 30 days they had a study done, and they haven't done it. We don't know what the impact will be for people downstream. And there's people trying to build out there, to go out there, and they don't have no paved road. And it's going to be a mess if something don't happen, you know. And they're taking the money and using it somewhere else. And like I said, they haven't even got through with the state for making the turning lanes out there. They haven't moved the utility on the easement along the 537.
And some of that stuff is things I'd be concerned about if I was the attorney for somebody buying out there. But, I mean, they didn't promise the county specifically that they would do those things, but they did promise us that they would give us drainage studies, road plans.
Can we require in any documents that it state that the county will not be assuming any part of the roads or whatever, and that it's...
That's in the interlocal agreement already.
It's
And
in
that's
the
a matter of
cities.
public record.
But they were supposed to build them to our standards, but back there in the
Well, it's the city standard.
City standards.
But then they claim they don't have a standard for industrial park. I mean, but one of the locations they were supposed to build a detention pond, they've already sold the property. So I don't know how you're gonna build a pond if it's, you know, it's gonna be a building there, you know. And
So they're just ignoring
Yeah.
what it is that they told us that they would do.
So what do you recommend,
That you authorize me to send a letter to them that says we need to sit down and come to an agreement for how we're going to do the alternative dispute resolution. And if that doesn't happen, then I would come back and suggest that you authorize a lawsuit. And if we get to court, then we can have the judge tell us if the judge wants to how to do the alternative dispute resolution. We didn't say specifically we're going to hire this particular person to be a mediator or anything else. We just said that we would go to alternative dispute resolution.
I'll make that motion.